welcome to each of you for taking the time out this evening to join the Lola and Parker Foundation on its first Empowering the Black Community webinar. And this one is called Inner Evolution, the First Step to Empowered Action. And we are just delighted that you are here with us this evening. I want to introduce you to our speaker this evening. She's probably known to each of you, but I just want to give you a little bit about her bio. This is Veronica Armstrong. She is a board member for the LMPF, and she's also, as you know, a SOAR. So Veronica is an ICF ACC certified life, leadership, and Gallup Strengths coach. She is also an accredited small business consultant and predictive index practitioner with more than 3 decades of experience enhancing the performance of individuals and teams in corporate America. Her background encompasses leading small and large teams through startups, realignments, and turnarounds. Her practical approach to leadership and organizational development began many years ago as a manager in a financial services company to her most recent roles as founder and CEO of Leadership Life Support and fractional CEO. Veronica's current areas of expertise is helping women stop living on autopilot by helping them identify their values, release limiting beliefs, reset their inner compass, and create a new life plan aligned with their true purpose. Veronica combines traditional coaching methods with her extensive corporate experience to offer a blend of insight and real-world strategies. She helps her clients break through personal and professional barriers, guiding them towards a life of increased fulfillment and success. Her education and professional affiliations: she has an MBA from Arizona State University, ICF ACC certified coach, accredited small business consultant, and as I stated, she's a board member of Lola Mercedes Parker Foundation. She's a member of Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. I bring to you tonight Veronica Armstrong.
Thank you, Sir Dorth. I really appreciate that. I'm really excited about this topic tonight because when we talk about change and fostering change, we oftentimes forget that there's inner work that needs to be done. And without doing some of that inner work, the kinds of programs that we implement, the change won't necessarily be lasting. So my goal tonight is to share with you what I know about empowered action and why the inner compass and doing inner compass work is going to help us with the change that we're trying to create within the community. Okay, so the title is Inner Evolution, the First Step Toward Empowered Action. The agenda is we're going to understand the pivotal role of the inner compass and lasting change. The inner compass really is that inner evolution, doing that work. We're going to explore the need to align one's inner compass to succeed. We're also going to explore the detrimental effects of a misaligned inner compass. And we're going to discuss practical strategies that foster inner change that amplify the impact of the programs that we implement. So my commitment is to ensure by the end of this webinar, you'll understand why inner work is not just a transformative tool for individuals, but a cornerstone for collective empowerment and prosperity. So as you all know, we embarked on a journey recently, and we are focusing our efforts on 4 pillars: health, career, financial literacy, and education. And tonight's discussion is going to be about empowerment within these 4 pillars. So first, I want to start with what is empowered action. It refers to proactive and intentional steps that an individual takes to make decisions in their life. It's about making decisions that are aligned with one's values, their goals, and the greater good, often leading to positive change. The key here is making sure that we are aware that when individuals make decisions that align with their values, the impact of those decisions is greater because the decisions or the actions that they take are more in line with and more in more alignment with the person that they truly are. And when an individual engages in empowered action, they do so with the belief that their own abilities and the power they have, they can impact their lives with the information we provide. In context of the community and development, personal growth and empowered action translate into initiatives and behaviors that individuals and groups undertake to improve their circumstances and well-being, while also contributing to the welfare of the community. It's not just about having the authority or power to do something, but it's about having the knowledge, the skills, and the motivation to do it effectively and sustainably. So what is an inner compass? Your inner compass, it's your moral and ethical navigation system. I call it a GPS. It guides us along the pathway of life. We use it to make decisions about things that happen in our lives. Those decisions align with the essence of who you are when it's in alignment, and it gives you a sense of purpose and direction. That inner GPS or the inner compass also is determined by your values, your beliefs, your family, your cultural background, social influences, and principles. Oftentimes, we don't realize that when individuals are making decisions and they're happy with those decisions, when we start to peel back all the layers of the decisions that they're making, we find that sometimes they're making decisions not based on their values or their beliefs, but based on what others expect of them. And those are the types of things you want to move away from if we want to create lasting and generational change, is helping people understand how to make decisions that align with who they are, allow them to operate in their zone of genius, and they are happy with the decisions that they're making. So the types of decisions that we make with our inner compass are lifestyle choices. How are we going to live our lives? Where are we going to live our lives? Who are we with? Relationships, career choices. Am I going to be a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer? Do I want to be a teacher? We also use our inner compass to deal with ethical dilemmas. Religion. What religion are we going to be? Am I going to be Christian? Am I going to be Muslim? Am I going to be Jewish? Like, what am I going to be? We also make decisions about health and wellness. Our internal compass can guide us in making choices that support our physical and mental health and well-being. And we may prioritize exercise, healthy eating and meditation, or self-care practices that align with our values and our priorities. One of the things that I think that stands out to a lot of people when it comes to health and wellness is that some of us like to run. I'm a runner. I love to get up and run. Other people don't like to run. Other people like walking. So it's that inner compass. It's I do what's aligned with me, and you're going to do what aligns with you. But to try and get everyone to do the same thing, someone's not going to like or appreciate running as much as I do. I'm not a distance runner. I'm a sprinter. So I'm not going to run a marathon. So it's just understanding that making decisions to do the things that align with who we are naturally are going to ensure that the changes that we make are long lasting and sustainable over time. We also make decisions about the hobbies and interests that we engage in. I love to read. I love to roller skate. There are people out there who are not going to get on roller skates or read. There are people who like basketball or like sewing, and all of those things are okay. The key is that the decision to engage in those hobbies is really about aligning with oneself, your true values and your ideas and your goals. So what causes a misalignment in one's inner compass? Fear or doubt. Oftentimes, people make decisions, as I said earlier, that don't align with who they are. They align with what they think someone expects of them, and they're fearful to make decisions that align with who they are. A lack of self-awareness is a big one. In my business as a coach, what I find is that people internalize a lot of the things that they learn from their elders as they're growing up, and they don't really think about the decisions that they're making as an adult. They're just making decisions based on what they learned. And when, again, you start to peel back the layers, you start to learn that this isn't what they believe necessarily, it's what someone else believes, but they're living their life in alignment with other people's beliefs, and they are not happy. So the lack of awareness of who they truly are means that they are not making decisions aligned with who they are. And so that's one of the things that causes misalignment. And emotional distress, whatever that stress is coming from. If you're in a stressful relationship, you could, again, be making decisions not to appease yourself, but to appease others. So you're kind of putting yourself aside, which is causing you and your inner compass to be out of alignment. And external pressures as well, similar situation. So what are the consequences of misalignment? Professionally, it can lead to a lack of engagement and poor job performance and dissatisfaction. And personally, it can result in stress, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of being out of place. It can also lead to health problems. I've seen that plenty of times in my business where people are coming to me, they've lived a life out of alignment and they are stressed. They have high blood pressure, they have diabetes because they're not eating well, they've gained weight because they are depressed. There are any number of things that can happen when your inner compass is out of alignment. But the good news is there are things that we can do to get it back in alignment. But one of the key things I want to talk about is why one's inner compass is essential for lasting change. And it's because our inner compass acts as the foundation for decision-making behavior. In addition to that, it ensures consistency between our actions and our values. We're in alignment when we're making decisions that align with who we are and the things that we want to do. And this alignment is needed for sustaining motivation, leading to long-term success. And the ripple effect is when individuals align their inner compass, the effects radiate outward and positively influence their families, themselves, others around them, their communities, and their organizations. And a collective alignment with a group of people can lead to a powerful and unified force of community development and societal advancement. So ultimately what I'm saying is when everyone makes decisions that are in alignment with who they are, when everyone's inner compass is finely tuned and we are operating in our zone of genius, can you imagine the things that we can accomplish and the things that we can do and how long lasting that change is? So when we talk about generational wealth and all of these generational changes, it really starts from within. Because as soon as you can align your inner compass, what you put out is then benefiting someone else. And as long as we teach others around us to align their inner compass and they're making decisions that align with who they are, again, there's the impact from one generation to the next, one person to the next, one community to the next. So it's all about making sure that we align that inner compass. So now I want to talk about inner compass alignment as it relates to the different pillars. So let's start with the career pillar. Having an aligned inner compass can serve as a powerful career guide, leading to fulfilling and impactful work. For instance, someone being a lawyer, not everyone's cut out to be a lawyer. Someone being a doctor or a nurse, not everyone's cut out to be in those professions. So when you make decisions about your career that align with who you are happier, you are thriving, you perform better, and over time, you'll probably make more money because you're going to be at the top of your game. It also helps to match personal values with professional opportunities because that enhances job satisfaction and productivity. One of the things that I will say is that for the last 30 years, I've been an executive in corporate America. But 20 years ago, what I started to realize is that I was much better at growing and developing and helping people learn to operate in their zone of genius. So what I'm doing today is I'm operating in alignment with my inner compass, doing the things that I love to do, but the impact that I'm having on women and the impact that I'm having on other people that I don't even know because of the women I'm touching is far greater than the impact that I could ever have in corporate America. So that's why it's important that when we talk to people about their careers, that we are helping them select careers that are in alignment with their goals, their values, and just who they are. So what are the effects of a misaligned inner compass on your career? It could result in someone feeling unfulfilled or a lack of motivation, or just kind of plateauing and not doing very well and feeling stuck. It also can contribute to a workforce that's disengaged and less innovative. So what are some ideas to help those who are trying to align their inner compass when it comes to their career? Doing skill and interest assessments can realign one's professional path with their inner compass. I can tell you in my business, when women come to me even though I'm a life and leadership coach, when they come to me about things that are happening at work, the first 4 weeks of what I do is all about self-awareness. And I do 2 assessments that really help them understand who they are. And it's eye-opening how often people look at the results of these assessments and they're surprised by what they're learning about themselves. But the more we talk about what they do every single day, how they go about leading, the more what they've learned about themselves resonates because they can see it. I'm forcing them out of or off of autopilot and really looking at who they are, and they see exactly what they're doing is very much consistent with the results that we're getting. So using skills and interest assessments can help align someone's career because it's really helping them pick the career that's in perfect alignment with who they are. Also, encouraging alignment with purpose. When someone discovers their purpose, let them pick a career that is aligned with that purpose, because a career isn't always about money. It's not always about fame. It's not always about, title. It's about, are you happy in the career that you are selecting? And is that career aligned with who you are? Mentorship programs that connect individuals with role models who exemplify career alignment. And what that means is, if you have students who want mentors, connect them with people who have very clearly made a decision to step into a career that aligns with who they are, because they can then impart that knowledge on that student, and that student gets to learn the importance of picking a career that aligns with who they are. And also offering workshops that encourage self-reflection on personal values and how they can be integrated into one's career choice. Kind of goes back to what I said a little bit ago, is that when you align your career with your values, you're operating in your zone of genius. And oftentimes we don't talk enough about values and who someone is when it comes to career. We do a lot of work, but we have to get to that inner part to make sure that all the work that we're doing is resonating and the careers that they are selecting really truly align with who they are. So the inner compass and the education pillar. So an aligned inner compass inspires a hunger for knowledge and a passion for lifelong learning. And it also influences educational choices and fosters a deeper engagement with the learning process. One of the things that I've recently started sharing is that when I entered college, I majored in accounting because I love numbers. I didn't get a degree in accounting, but I love numbers, and I will always gravitate towards activities and tasks that involve numbers because I have this thirst for numbers and it just comes naturally to me. The challenges that we see when someone's inner compass is misaligned in education is there's a discrepancy between one's values and educational environment, and that can lead to a lack of interest, lower retention rates, and poor academic performance. And we sometimes see that in students who, and I see this oftentimes in students who go to school and are majoring in something that they just don't like. They don't want to major in it. I've met several people in my lifetime who've gone to law school who just don't like it. They thought they liked it. They thought it would be something they liked, and they just dropped out because it just wasn't for them. Another thing that will happen is that it could cause students to pursue paths unsuited to their strengths and their passions and hindering their potential. I've seen that similar to the attorney story, but I've seen that in women who have gone to nursing school and realized they don't like to see blood. They don't want to deal with some of the things that they have to experience in that profession, and they have walked away. I actually have a cousin who did that as well, just kind of walked away and said, it's just not for me. So that's what happens when you're making decisions that aren't in alignment with who you truly, truly are. It means your inner compass is not in alignment. Some ideas for alignment in the educational sector: implement a personalized learning path that respects individual values and learning styles. Not something we might do in a program, but certainly something that would be important to do in the educational system. We can develop mentorship initiatives that guide students to educational choices reflecting their inner compass. That means doing some work and making sure that we identify what their goals are, what their skills are, and what careers align with their natural goals and their skills. Their natural talents and their skills. And skill building sessions that help students identify and align their interests with their academic and career goals. I actually recently did a session with some students at an elementary school, And we did some of this work where we were talking about their different professions and the different skills that they would have to build and the different ways and avenues that they could take to build some of those skills. And just to see their faces light up was really, really exciting, because it's not something that we do as often as we should to really help students, when they're younger especially, identify the types of career opportunities that exist for them and the things that they like to do. So the inner compass and the financial pillar. Aligning financial decisions with our inner values leads to more satisfying and sustainable outcomes. And I say that when I look at people who value art, and this is a big one, when they value art, some of us don't have a respect and appreciation for art. I can say I don't. But those who do, when they invest in that art, the joy that they get with investing in the art and having it in their home is absolutely amazing. I have walked into people's homes and I've seen all of the beautiful art. And when I find out how much they invest in, I'm thinking there's no way. But then I realize that's what they value. I don't value that. So they're investing their money in that. It has a much different effect on their lives than it will on mine. And so it's just aligning those financial decisions with those values can have a profound effect on someone's life. And that inner compass also acts as a guide for financial responsibility, for responsible financial planning and investment aligned with personal and community growth. When your inner compass is out of alignment, it can result in impulsive spending, lack of savings, and poor financial planning, because they're not associating their long-term goals with their short-term actions. And sometimes we just need to sit people down and just let them see that they're not going to get to where they'd like to go if they're engaging in the behavior that they're engaging in at the moment. So it's just making sure that they get those thoughts aligned, the actions aligned with what their long-term goals are. And inner compass that's out of alignment also may contribute to broader issues of financial instability and economic disparity within the community. And a lot of that has to do with when we're in a community and we have similar goals and values, and those goals and values are out of alignment, we are only perpetuating it within that community. And so if we can make the change in one or two people, and that change spreads and we start changing people's thoughts and minds and their behavior, then it will change throughout the community. But it starts with one person at a time that we have to make those changes. So here are some ideas for alignment. Financial literacy workshops can help individuals align their spending and savings with their core values. And that's a big thing, is incorporating core values, not just the exercise of just talking about financial literacy. One of the things that I shared with someone recently, and because I was invited to a financial literacy workshop, and I said, one of the things we don't talk about are the beliefs that we have around money. And some of us really need to do that inner work to work on those beliefs. And here's a big belief that I'm pretty sure a lot of us have. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, we know money doesn't grow on trees, but what that means, that subtle meaning is you have to work hard for your money. Well, I can sit here and tell you there are a lot of people out here who are not working half as hard as some people for their money. But they have been taught to believe that money doesn't grow on trees, so you have to work hard for it. And so they work themselves to the bone, and they're not looking at other ways to create other revenue streams. So they're not working as hard for their money. So we have to think about what their values are, incorporate that, and what their beliefs are too, and incorporate that into financial literacy training. Interactive budgeting exercises that incorporate personal values and financial planning. Again, it's about that person's core values, which means that we're tailoring these exercises and these workshops to the individual, as opposed to just kind of whole peanut butter method of just giving them something very broad and very general. We're tailoring it for them specifically. And then perhaps success stories of individuals who have aligned their financial strategies with their inner compass, leading to improved financial well-being. And that's really just giving people examples of others who have done what I'm suggesting, so that they can see this can really be done. This is real. This is not theory. This really can be done. And so I wanted to share some additional ideas about, as we are embarking on the programs that we are offering what are some of the things that we can do to incorporate inner compass work into those programs to help make the impact of what we are putting out there much better and longer lasting? So in the health pillar, think about incorporating mindfulness training, helping people learn how to center themselves and to really just kind of get quiet and listen to their thoughts and hear the things that they need to hear. Also, it increases their self-awareness, because once you start to get really in tune with your body, especially from a health perspective, when you get in tune with your body, you're able to pick up on what's not right, what's happening here. You're not feeling this, you're not feeling well here. But sometimes we just have to stop and learn how to get in tune with our body. Mindfulness training also helps us with, manage stress. Meditation, just centering yourself and just getting quiet can really help us bring down the stress levels, can help us identify where we're not feeling well and we are, perhaps some additional attention is needed. Incorporating health values assessment, meaning like develop a program to help individuals identify their health related values and set goals aligned with these. Meaning, one of my values is I do want to be healthy. So exercising is important to me. I don't always do it, but exercising is important. But also exercising in the morning is important, because what I've learned is that I get better benefits if I get up and run in the morning or exercise in the morning, because I look at, how many calories I burn throughout the day. So it's important I do that in the morning. But I think assessing one's current health and just understanding where they are. It's not just about your high blood pressure. It's not just about diabetes. It's not just about cholesterol. It's about your metabolic health, understanding your metabolic health, understanding, whether or not you have slow twitch or fast twitch fibers, understanding whether or not you're an endomorph, ectomorph, all those different things. There's so many different things that we can do to help people understand where they are, so that we can create tailored solutions for them that will be more successful for them. And the career pillar, offer workshops that help participants identify their core values, interests, and guide them toward fulfilling careers. If we're doing career workshops, perhaps part of that can be having someone help these students or others identify what are your values? What do you like? What do you love? What drives your decisions? And when you're able to identify careers that align with those values, the level of satisfaction is going to skyrocket. They're going to be happier and they're going to perform better just by default. Create programs that combine skill building with self-reflection exercises and aligning professional growth with personal development. I think that's a big, big thing, especially for younger students. I find is that when we create these programs that help to build their skill and allow them to self-reflect, they can tell us very early on, at least in my experience, what they like and what they dislike. And you can help those discoveries can help guide them in the right direction when it comes to the careers that they choose. Because some of these kids say, I want to be a veterinarian. Okay, great. I'm not exactly sure. Do you have any animals? Do you have any pets? And if they don't have any pets, I'm like, well, why do you want to be a veterinarian? Like, what is it about pets, if you don't have a pet, that's causing you to want to be a veterinarian? You want to be very careful to make sure that these kids are picking careers that really align with who they are, and they're not doing it simply because someone else wants them to do it, but they're doing it because it's what they truly, truly in their heart desire to do. And in the education pillar, we can conduct workshops that help students create visual representations of their educational and personal development goals, aligning their academic path with their inner compass. I too did this recently with a bunch of 8th graders. I actually had them do a meditation that I recorded, and it helped them visualize. And then they had a whole hour to create their vision board. And one of the things that we talked about is your vision and how you have to create and center your vision. And it has to be a part of what you focus on every single day. If you are not focusing on your vision every single day and you're focusing on everything else, the question is, what are you bringing into your reality? Because if your vision is to become a doctor, what is ordering your steps today to prepare you to do this tomorrow? So doing the vision board exercise was very, very helpful for the students, because I got them to a place where they understood that that vision is important and they have to hold it and they have to look at that vision board on a regular basis. If they're going to make things come to life, they have to create that vision and hold it. And holding it is putting it on a vision board and something that they can look at. I also gave them or showed them my vision board that's actually on my desktop. And out of the maybe 15 to 20 things that I put on that vision board, 5 of them have come true in the last 5 years. And it's simply because I've been looking at the vision board and just thinking about it, visioning it, making sure that it's top of mind. But 5 of those things have come true. And just helping those students understand that doing that early on can really help them achieve the goals that they like to achieve. And mentorship programs pair students with mentors who exemplify alignment with their personal and professional values, offering guidance and inspiring educational choices. There are many people, I should say women in LMPF and IOTA, who exemplify being completely aligned with their careers and their values. And students being able to see that and us literally talking about it and realizing how important it really is to get them to understand the importance of picking careers that align with their values and even picking majors that align with their values and who they are. And finally, the financial pillar. Value conscious budgeting workshops host sessions that teach how to create budgets based on individual and community values rather than just financial gain. Because if we're totally talking about financial gain, we're missing all of the little small steps and all of the little things in between that can really make a big difference in someone's success in managing a budget. And ethical investment clubs form groups focused on learning and practicing investments in socially responsible ventures that align with the members' personal beliefs and the desire for communal growth. And so we're going to wrap this up. So what we talked about was the inner compass work is not just beneficial, it's not just beneficial, but essential for transformative and personal change. We explored the impact of what having a misaligned inner compass has in the 4 pillars. We also talked about practical strategies for embedding work or inner compass work in the programs and the work that we do in those pillars. I'm going to stop and I'm going to open it up for questions.
This has been great. Veronica, you sounds like you were working with some 8th graders. Is that the age that some of this should start with? What if someone is, in their mid-20s, mid-30s? Where do you start with them?
I mean, you can absolutely, everybody, as long as people are coachable, you can start anywhere. I did this with another organization, and the reason why they started with 8th graders is because they're much more impressionable, right? I'm trying to get them while they're young and trying to get them on track so they can stay on track. But when it comes to people in their 20s, you can absolutely sit down and have these conversations. Where I start with them, however, is on self-awareness, because by that point in time, they've developed all of these deep-seated beliefs that we have to check them to make sure that those beliefs actually serve them. Because if they don't serve them, then we have to replace them with empowering beliefs and just make sure they understand who they are so that we can then create a plan for them that will drive them in the direction that they desire to go. Yes.
It seems like there's a lot that people need to address in their lives. And sometimes it feels like trying to deal with all of those things is overwhelming. So where do you start? Or does the person start? Do they select a place to start, or do you suggest a place to start? Because it does seem like trying to address all of these things at the same time could get overwhelming.
That's a very good question, but I can tell you that every woman who comes to me for coaching comes to me for a different reason, most of them professional. But I always start in the same place. Who are you? What do you believe in? What are your values? Because oftentimes they are coming at things, everything is coming at them from different directions. And it really starts from within. We've got to get in touch with who you are and how you're wired so that we can then determine how you are going to move, how you're going to lead yourself. because sometimes the stuff that is all the stuff that's affecting them is affecting them because they're allowing it to affect them, and they are creating something, or they're turning into something that it is not. And so it's really just a matter of getting them centered, getting them focused on who they are, and then let's take it one step at a time. And that's what I'm saying, and bring it down to size, because it's not all of this stuff. It is literally right here. It's what you can control, and it's right here.
And ascertaining who you are, is this a discussion, or is this do you have questions that people answer about themselves, or how do you figure out who you are?
So I go through 2 personality assessments. We go through a beliefs exercise. We go through a core values exercise. My first 4 weeks of training with anyone or coaching with anyone is all about self-awareness. So 2 assessments, a core values exercise, and a limiting beliefs exercise. Now, I can do that in an hour with someone. Not the assessments I can do separately, but the core values and the beliefs, I can do that in an hour with someone. It's really just having the questions and getting them to just sit down and think and just write this stuff down. The values sometimes takes time because people don't necessarily connect with their values. Like, I can tell you, trust is my #1 core value. When my trust is betrayed, I have a little bit of a hard time kind of recovering from that. But I recognize when someone has betrayed my trust, why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, so I can make deliberate decisions in the moment. There are some people who can't even tell you why they're behaving the way they're behaving because they don't know what their values are. So it's important to at least identify their beliefs and their values, because then if you find that any of those aren't serving them, then you can take the steps necessary to help them get back on track, or at least come up with empowering beliefs that will help them move forward in a way that's better and much more healthy for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I resonated with your comments about the financial beliefs and how you need to, which is also goes back to your comments about finding your values and your belief system, because how we treat money, how we work with money is totally set on how you are raised, or how you, what you think money can do for you or can't do for you, or what you have to do to get the money to do, or it's all comes back to some of those basic ABCs, and it creates the whole rest of the alphabet, so to speak.
It absolutely does. And money is one of those big areas you can see when your inner compass is out of alignment. You can absolutely see it when it comes to money. It's how you treat, like you said, how you treat money, what you think about money. Money can sometimes be someone's enemy when actually money is not anybody's enemy, right? It really does go back to making sure that you understand what your beliefs are. It's starting with that person. Let's start there. So when we do these programs on financial literacy, and I said this to some family members of mine last year after I went through a financial literacy workshop, I said, we need to do more around the beliefs around money. So you could have a greater impact by unpackaging people's beliefs around money and just kind of helping them kind of work through that. And then as you're teaching them all of this other content, how they see it, the lens through which they view it at that point is going to be very, very different, because when you don't deal with those beliefs, their lens is kind of foggy, it's cloudy with their beliefs, and it sometimes does not allow them to internalize the content to the degree that they could, because they just have these beliefs about money.
Yep. Any other questions? Charlene, Valencia, Ann, Pam, Patricia. There's 2 Patricias, so Betsy, any comments, questions? Go ahead, Charlene.
Good evening, Source. It's so good to see and hear from you all. I really enjoyed the presentation that Veronica gave. Really, it was kind of different. I don't know what I was expecting, but whenever I think of working with young people as far as careers are concerned, we're always centering on the income that these careers will bring, um, schooling and education, preparation, um, job interviews, but we never really stop to ask the students if they're how are they feeling, who are you, what do you believe, what are your values, that would align them with their careers or even their health. We think of what we should eat and the different types of diseases and just a whole realm of things when we don't really stop to get at the core, that this is, you know, totally a little different expectation and a different way of going about putting or making presentation in programs. I can say that because most people are like, look, tell me a career that I can make some money so that I can have, you know, some nice things, and I'm not having to worry about how I'm going to get from A to B, living check by check, paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And that's exactly why I did this. Because in every person I have ever coached, and this is a corporate, personally, professionally, I see the same thing time and time and time and time again. We get to a certain point in life, and there's this level of dissatisfaction because we haven't addressed those very things. We have made decisions based on what everybody says we should do, whatever, and we're not making decisions based on who we are. And what I've learned is when people are operating in their zone of genius and they're being the person that they were born to be, no amount of money is going to make you feel good, better about what you're doing. And on top of that, you thrive. You absolutely thrive. So one of the things that I have talked about, it's come up often in my circles, is that we, and I'm going to say African Americans, we hear when you graduate from high school, you go to college, you get a degree, and you get a good job. Those three things. Well, sometimes we get stuck in those good jobs, not able to move up the corporate ladder, right? We get absolutely stuck. But yet other people aren't necessarily told that. Other people, you know, they're all these different revenue streams. You do this, you do that. I have learned, I tell people now, don't stay in a job for more than 2 years. Don't, if you're staying in your job for 25, 30 years, you are missing out on money. Leave, go someplace else, get more money. People are hearing non-traditional things at this point because we are learning how to navigate the system, but navigating the system isn't necessarily going to college, getting a degree, and getting a good job. That doesn't work for everyone. What works for everyone is really what is specific to them. And if we can get to a place where we're allowing people to identify, but still guide, especially when they're younger, what their life looks like, what the best life for them look like, they're going to thrive. They're going to thrive beyond measure. So thank you for sharing that comment. I appreciate that. So
I think that's very true, that you have to let people understand that the way I did it is not necessarily the way you should do it. And you have to accept they're doing it their way. And that they actually know what they are doing. Even though it's not what you did, they are doing what makes them happy.
And
we were never told being happy. It's about getting a good job and supporting yourself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ms. Armstrong, I completely agree with what Ms. Scott just said because I'm retired now, and yeah, it was that was the trajectory, you know, graduate, go to college, get a good job, get a job with the state, you know, get a job where you can get good benefits. And so I did all that, but along the way, a long time ago, I realized, and I call it, I said the thing that makes your brain light up. I realized the thing that made my brain light up was not actually doing the job that I was doing, but I like to write, poems and plays and books and anything with writing. So I can appreciate that. And I appreciate your whole talk this evening.
It's
Absolutely.
really funny because I wanted to retire so that I can do what I wanted to do when I started. I wanted to go into writing. I wanted to be a journalist, in fact. But I wanted to, but the thing is, you get a good job and support yourself.
Yes.
And what I want to do right now is retire so that I can write my first book. And I'm really, and it's amazing.
But think about when I say operate in your zone of genius, and I actually have a talk. I did this webinar earlier this year, and I've done it twice. I actually did it for the city of Phoenix. But the second time I did it, and I don't necessarily hear him often, but he said something to me. He says, you need to put some examples in your presentation so that people get it. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And here's some of the examples I put in my presentation. If Oprah was not operating in her zone of genius, what would we have? What would the world be? If Jeff Bezos didn't operate in his zone of genius, what would we have been during COVID without Amazon? If Tyler Perry wasn't operating in his zone of genius, what would we have? What kind of entertainment would we have? So the point is that when you do what aligns with you, the gifts that you impart on the world are huge. If we didn't have Amazon during COVID, where would we have been?
Mm-hmm.
But because Jeff Bezos decided he was going to do what aligned with him, what was right for him, we were blessed with Amazon and the ability to order whatever we wanted during COVID.
When we wanted, how we wanted it.
And we
Pam,
did it really quickly.
Right.
yeah, instant gratification practically. Pam, you wanted to say something.
Yes, I was gonna actually agree with Sora Armstrong when she said reaching out to the 8th graders. Those are 13 and 14-year-olds. When you're 14, that's when you can get your first summer job. And having run that type of program, and when you first start off, it's time to go to work. They want their check. They want to know, what's going on. I would tell kids, I said, first off, when you get your first check, we did a lot of financial literacy programs with them. And I would tell them, do not go out and buy another pair of Michael Jordan tennis shoes. Michael has a house already. Okay. He doesn't need you to support him anymore. But we want you to start saving. And you look at different programs. You have financial literacy programs where they can get the certifications, and you work with FDIC. They have an excellent program. And then you have America Saves program where they're saving and they're have their bank accounts and those different types of programs that you can do with the youth. So starting with that 8th grader, that 8th grader can go home to the family. Mom, I got a bank account. Dad, I got a bank account. I'm going to save some of my money from my summer job. And down the line, you find when that kid is like 21, you find out that financial literacy program that they did when they were in 8th grade, they're still using those same techniques and they still have their bank accounts. And that makes a difference. So I just want to agree with that from experience.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions or comments?
Very well done. Thank you.
Thank you. I know it's a little different, but
You're a little different. No.
I am. But I embrace it, right?
But that's in a good way. That's in a good way.
And it's okay to be a little different. That's basically what she was saying. Know who you are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
All right, so we're done with, I think we're at 7:24.
Well, we're not gonna hold you if there's not any other questions. I want to thank Veronica for giving us this great start and kickoff to our webinar series for Empowering the Black Community. I hope to also just remind you that the applications for the grant, for the Empowering the Black Community grant, are due next week on November 15th. And so I'm certainly hoping to, we're hoping to see some great grants, and maybe this webinar gave you some ideas about what you could be thinking about in terms of some programming. So thanks again, Veronica. This is great. Thanks to each of you for coming. We really, truly appreciate it. And spread the news about empowering your Black community and empowering. I hope you took something from this to empower yourself, to look into your own inner self, and think about whether it's what life looks like after retirement, or what does it look like if you're younger than a few of us on here, and you might want to make a change in your in your career. So, or in some of your other things that you're doing. So thank you, and thank you.